Fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's on 1019, 100.5, 1450, WGNSSports.com, and BigGTV.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by State Farm agents Andy Womack, Dana Womack, Celeste Middleton, Alex Williams, Ron Reeves, and Emerson Williams. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Danny Brewer here with you this morning. You know, I'm happier than a pig in slop because I got doggone Will Kriesky here, the mastermind of Riverdale football. You know, the Warrior way, he's all about it. Coach Kriesky, how are you this morning?
I'm doing all right. You know, dried off a little bit. You know, it was a long night, long day. But, you know, I'm really, really proud of this group and how they handled the situation. You know, it's not every day you go and travel 45 minutes and then, you know, sit in the locker room from 5 o'clock until 7:30 and you don't do anything. And, you know, I couldn't be more appreciative of how our kids handled that situation, you know, and handled all the extremity. I mean, sometimes those things can go bad. And I think that's why Lebanon wanted to play on Friday. They were hoping some things would go bad and that we wouldn't handle those types of situations really well. But, you know, this group has been there. You know, we had that long delay against Blackman, so they kind of knew what to expect. We prepped them for it going into the game. You know, be expecting long delays. You know, we packed a lot of extra food. You know,
so there you go.
We were prepared.
So let's set the table a little bit of what happened. We knew weather was coming in Friday. Many teams moved the game to Thursday night to avoid, you know, thunderstorms, lightning delays, all that kind of stuff. Lebanon chose not to do that. They wanted to slow Riverdale. It was a ploy. I think that they make no bones about it. It was a ploy because they wanted to try to slow the Riverdale machine down. With all that in mind and what you just mentioned about the delays and all that stuff, is this as satisfying a win for Riverdale Nation as you've had in a long time? When you think about all that stuff that you were up against, but you responded 28-7, put a butt whooping on them.
You know, yeah, I'm really proud of the kids and how they responded. And, you know, Lebanon's been a tough place to play. You know, we've had some bad luck there. And, you know, for those kids to just come out and dominate from the first quarter on, you know, that's impressive. Yeah, I'm proud of them. But, you know, like I told them last night, we got to turn the page and get ready for Maryville. And I'm excited about this opportunity coming up this week.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to get to that here in just a minute. I want to talk about, you know, of course, me being the horse racing guy, back a horse and get paid. We've talked about it. The Riverdale offense has been prolific through the air this year. You know, you've got a great quarterback. You got a great receiving core. You've thrown the ball extremely well. Last night, knowing the conditions, you knew you had to run the ball. You backed your horse, Jacob Vaughn, and by golly, you got paid. 27 carries, 276 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Wow. How about that, Coach?
You know, that was really special for him. You know, he's worked really hard. And you know, Coach Barnes, you know, he's a pass-happy guy, but he really stressed the offensive line that we really needed them and needed to get behind them. And he stayed on Jacob Vaughn all week about, you know, we got to rely on you this week, you know. And I thought him and Gavin ran the ball well at times. And Jacob, man, he lowered his shoulders and he played. And he ran behind his pads and he ran behind the line. He did a great job reading his blocks. The kid's just getting better and better each and every week. And I'm proud of the sophomore growth that he's had each week.
Running behind his pads. That's a Floyd Walker term there. You're learning something from him, aren't you?
Yes, I
am. So let's talk a little bit about Hampton, Gavin Hampton, the quarterback. Like I said, he's had a fantastic year, over 2,000 yards. I think now he may have 27 touchdowns passing, something like that. Yeah. But he 51 yards rushing, and he ran behind his pads, too, when he really needed to.
Yeah, he did. And sometimes I don't really like that, and I got on to him a few times about it. But, you know, he did, and he's a team player, and he wants his teammates to respect him. And you know, I told him he's already earned their respect. He don't need to be lowering his shoulder and trying to run over folks. But he did. He ran his, but he wants to win. And, you know, it's playoff time. He knows he has to lay it on the line, but he knows that his offensive line is laying on the line for him, so he's going to do the same. But, you know, I'm really, like all those guys, I'm really proud of all the receivers. You know, I know Corbin and Luke and Tally didn't have as great as night they expected, but they no complaining. They knew what the conditions were going to be, and they knew what we needed to rely on. And, you know, Braylon Burns was fortunate to get that one early, you know, a 67-yard touchdown pass. But other than that, you know, I'm just excited about how just the team play we had, like, you know, the overall team. And that was a team win last night.
So let's talk a little bit about the offensive line. You mentioned them earlier. When it's this time of year, you no, you have to run the football to win. You have to. And talk about your offensive line and mention some of those kids who really stepped up last night because you control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they all did great. Dakari King, Vontae Morris, Eli Clark, Alex Judd, who's a sophomore, and EJ. And EJ's been hampered a little bit by just a tightness in his back, but they all five played really well, and they're jiving at the right time. They're communicating with each other. They're having far less MAs going on plays, and so you can tell they're really meshing at a good time of year.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about your kicking game, because special teams is always important. You've got really good special teams. Your kicker, I think, is he like 39 for 39 or 40 for 40 on PATs this year? I don't think he's missed one, has he?
Well, come on. We got another game.
Well, you got more than one game. Let's say, yeah, but so far he hasn't missed one.
He's had a really good year. I'm really proud of Miles, and not only his extra points, his kickoffs, his field goals, his punts. He's done a really good job, and Miles is a little different. He gets a little excited and gets into it. One of their Lebanon players ran by running their mouth, and he's not scared to get right up with them, and that's just the competitiveness that he has, and I like that. He wants to be successful at everything he does, and he's bought into the team, and bought into being a Riverdale football. And when you got guys like that on special teams as your leaders, it's pretty good.
Well, when you see your kicker wanting to chest up to somebody, then it sends a message to everybody, right?
Yeah, and they're all fighting together and fighting for each other, and that's what you like to see.
Absolutely right. Okay, so Coach, let's talk a little bit about, of course, we got tied to horses, chasing the crown, running today at Churchill Downs in the River City, Kentucky Downs graduate, been in the money 15 out of 19 races, so he's one that's always right there. We're chasing the crown this week. You got to go to Maryville. Talk about that. Maryville with their steep tradition. I don't think Riverdale's beaten Maryville, but we know they are beatable because two Rutherford County teams have beaten them. Smyrna beat them years ago. Oakland has beaten them. So they're not unbeatable by any stretch. Talk about the opportunity to go to Maryville and what that presents to Riverdale football.
It's huge. I mean, we get a chance to go to Maryville, who's one of the top programs in the state. And we feel we're right there with them. We're very proud of our program and what we've done and accomplished over the last few years. And, like I told our guys, man, y'all ought to be excited, man. It's a good opportunity. You're going to see a good football team. We've been battle-tested all year. We've played really good football teams this year. And, we've played them close. And they know what type of game it's going to be. They know that we got to execute. They know we can't have MAs. They know we can't give them free yards on unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. The atmosphere there is going to be electric. I mean, it's going to be awesome. I've been there twice as an assistant coach with Coach A-Lot, and unfortunately we come away with losses. But, just going there, and it's just different, It's what high school football is about, and you get that atmosphere, and the fans are right on top of you, and you got good football. And I'm excited for these kids, get on the bus and let's go. Let's make it a business trip, and let's go handle our business.
Yeah, handle your business. That's absolutely right. So let's talk about the improvement of Riverdale. When you think about you have been battle tested, started off with a couple of private schools, Knoxville Catholic, Father Ryan. You've played a good schedule throughout. The district is tough. Every game's a war. Talk about the improvement of your team from week one to now, and what you like, what you're seeing.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, from week one to now, we've gotten a lot better. The receivers and quarterback are on the same page. The offensive line has improved tremendously. Losing LeBron, put us back a few weeks, and we struggled for a few weeks, but then those guys started gelling, and they're meshing, and they're doing the right things, and that's really helped us. It's opened up our run game. It's opened up success for Jacob. When you're able to run the ball also and throw it, it's a good combination, and that's what you need. You need that balance going to the playoffs. If you don't have a balance in the playoffs, it's an easy exit.
Yeah, absolutely right, Coach. Balance is the key. Like I said, you got to run the football to win when it's this time of year. Let's talk a little bit about your defense. Your defense has been really, really good. Only gave up 7 points last night. And you're right, Lebanon is a tough place to play. They've got a good program. So only gave up 7 points last night. Let's talk a little bit about defense and the importance and the improvement you've seen on that side of the ball.
They keep getting better each and every week. Jeremy Thompson, our sophomore middle linebacker, has done a great job. He's grown up, man. It's been really pleasant to see the growth that he's had, and our secondary is playing well. I think Dre Ote, has gotten better. He's been a lot more physical than I intended him to be, and I've been really proud of his growth. And Zayden Jones has played well, and Hudson Fuqua, who just committed to Mississippi State this week, he's playing extremely well. And Elijah Reams, and of course Aiden Edmonds, our middle backer, and then our whole front man. Coach Haley and Coach Martin do a great job. I mean, I mean, we'll run 3 on, run 3 off. You know, we rotate. We play like 7 D linemen. And so when you have that luxury of running guys on and off like that, I mean, you know, we'll have a group play first and second down, and then he'll run another group in on third down. And, you know, to be able to have those fresh legs, you know, on third down and send guys to go get it, you know, if it's third and long, you know, that's good. That's depth. And that's a tribute to the assistant coaches getting all those guys ready. I mean, that means they're really investing in them in practice, not just the starters. They're investing in the second, because the second team guys are just as good as first team, and they all get reps, you know. So when you got that many guys playing, it keeps guys interested and involved this time of year.
You know, something that Coach Fulmer told me years ago when I was covering Tennessee football, the thing that made Tennessee really good was the internal competition. And with that, I mean, I know that the Riverdale, everybody's together and everybody's for everybody, but that internal competition of wanting to get out there and wanting to make plays and competing for that playing time, that makes you better too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. If you come to any of our practices, you would think our offense and defense hate each other. I mean, seriously, that's just how they get after it. I mean, our coaches are getting after each other. They're offense and defense. I mean, you know, of course, we're not hitting the quarterback, but anytime a defensive guy gets through, you know, on the offense, immediately the defensive coaches are yelling, sack, sack, you know. So it's I mean, we compete all through practice, and, you know, that's what I mean, that helps get guys better. You know, and I think us going against our defensive front has helped our offensive line each and every week. If we don't practice the way we do, our offensive line doesn't get better. But our offensive line is having to practice against our front seven all the time. And they have no choice. Either they're going to get their butt chewed out or they're going to get better. And they chose to get better. And so they've gotten better each and every week at practice because of that.
I think you're absolutely right, Coach, because you've got probably maybe the best front seven in the county. I mean, you or one of the best front sevens in the mid-state, no doubt about that. So that, once again, that internal competition.
Yeah, it keeps guys fresh, it keeps guys rotating, and it keeps guys, they know that they just can't come to practice and go through the motions. You know, I couldn't say that, you know, at the beginning of my tenure at Riverdale. You know what I mean? We had guys that knew that their job wasn't going to be taken no matter how bad they practiced. And it's not like that anymore. They know that if they're not practicing up to the standard, the next guy's coming in. You know, we had a House, you know, came in and played last night at right tackle just to pull EJ early, and I think that was good quality reps. And I don't think Donovan House is ready for that situation unless he practices the way he practices each and every week and practices against our ones on defense.
Well, and at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is making kids better, not only on the football field but off the football field too, that you understand if you don't do your job, somebody's there waiting to take your place.
Yeah, and you know, like you said, it's a good life lesson, and it makes the kids work, keeps them hungry, and you want to keep like this time of year, you got to stay hungry. If you're not hungry, if you're just satisfied, it's one and done.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that, Coach. Let's talk. You mentioned a kid, Hudson Fuqua, and you mentioned Mississippi State, your Power 5 conference. Talk a little bit about that kid and the importance of seeing your players have those opportunities as far as going to the next level at that level, you know?
Yeah, you know, we've been very blessed to have some kids to have that opportunity and to be playing at that level. You know, and Hudson, man, like for him, watching him go through the recruiting process is probably one of the best I've seen. His intelligent questions that he asks the recruiters, the way he introduced himself, the way he just intermingles. I mean, he wanted specifically to know, where do you see me in your defense? What position? Can you outline a 3-year plan for me? Can you tell me what you expect? You know, and he chose a school that gave him the best answers. And he not just chose a school about athletics, it's academics. Academics is big. His mama is huge on academics, and he stays on top of the books. And no matter when his football career is over, Hudson's going to be successful just because just the drive he has, you know, and the drive that he has to want to be great.
Well, at the end of the day, it's going to end one day anyway, your football career, whether you go into coaching or business or whatever. So you're right, the academics, you cannot underscore the importance of that.
No, and you know, Coach Levy's been down to watch practice, and I feel like he's meshed really well. You know, Coach Levy seems like a really good guy, a great guy, and I feel like, you know, him and Hudson meshed and the defensive staff meshed just as soon as they came in there and visited. I know Hudson's going down to Mississippi State today to watch them in Georgia play. You know, he made a decision off of him being happy, not just a football decision, but he made a decision knowing no matter if the Coach Levy leaves, will I still be happy at that place? And I think, you know, that's why he went ahead and committed as a junior, because nowadays if you wait too long, that transfer portal will get filled up, and you know, the DB room will get filled quick.
Well, right, and that's the thing about it is people don't understand that the transfer portal really hurts the freshmen more than anybody because you're not always having to recruit because you can just get somebody out of the transfer portal.
Yeah, it does. It's hard. We've had less traffic the last few years, college coaches coming in and out of the field house. Usually it's constant and it wears you down. And now it's kind of like sometimes gets like ghost town. And you feel bad for our seniors and our kids, but we're trying to help as much as we can to get them promoted and get them to the next level. And because these guys do, especially the mid majors and stuff, they all go to, and the college coaches will tell you now. We really like him, but we're going to go to the portal first. This kid looks really good. I get that all the time about Corbin Reynolds. Everybody loves Corbin Reynolds, and everybody wants Corbin Reynolds, but they want to see what they can get out of the portal first before they commit to him.
Right, and once again, that hurts your seniors especially. So let's talk a little bit. One more question. Maryville, what's the biggest key? If you could single out one thing that you want to see from your football team when you go to Maryville, what's the biggest thing you want to see from Riverdale Warriors?
You can't give them free yards. You cannot give Maryville free yards. When you play great teams like that, when it's going to be a battle, you can't have the unsportsmanlike conduct. You can't have the laziness of holding penalties. You know what I mean? You got to line up correctly. You can't jump off sides. We cannot give Maryville any free yards, and we got to hold our penalties to a minimum.
Well, I think that you're the man to do it, Coach Kriesky. You got that discipline. So here's what I encourage every Riverdale Warrior supporter. Get on the doggone bus and head to Maryville because the thing about it is
tell Miss Blair to let him out of school on Friday. Let's go.
Hey, Miss Blair, Clark said, I was there. Husband Clark said.
Yes, because Clark gets me in plenty of trouble. So we'll blame it on Clark said that Riverdale students can go to the game on Friday.
Yeah, well, I think they should because you're right. I've been there. It's been years ago with Smyrna when they beat them. The atmosphere is always electric. And it's a very special place to play. So get on the bus, head to Maryville. Let's support the Riverdale Warriors. And Coach Kriesky, we appreciate your time, Coach, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by Ideas Tees, who will be happy to help you fulfill all of your imprinted apparel, embroidery, and advertising specialty needs. Find out more at ideastees.com.
It's a frustration many are feeling is real and justified. Kenneth Barrett said that after the county commission